Well, Volvo is betting big on India's EV drive. In an exclusive conversation with my colleague Parishit Luthra, top executives said that battery electric vehicles are Volvo's strongest weapon in the country against premium brands. They added that India could be the fastest growing market in Asia Pacific in 2023. Take a look.
We plan to grow by developing in particular our electric vehicle portfolio here. So we think there's a very strong and growing demand for pure EVs. So we launched our XC40 BEV here last year, which was extremely well received by the press and by consumers. And we'll continue to introduce more BEVs over the coming years here. And I think that will be the backbone of the growth in India.
Right. We also believe that Volvo is considering launching an entry-level electric car to have a greater footprint in the EV space. Would that be right?
We have said that we're going to introduce a new battery electric vehicle every year for the next several years. We've also confirmed that we will introduce a smaller battery electric vehicle, and that is slotted to arrive here in India in due course. Can't confirm exactly when, but in due course you can expect a smaller car than the current XC40 BEV.
And if I were to ask you about what kind of sales and production numbers are you looking from India as far as your global demand and your global production outlook goes, how much do you expect will come from India? What could be the incremental sales over 2022?
See, again, I think I think we have to look at 23 versus 22 is a difficult number, but as Nick said, I think our focus is on electrification. We want to grow numbers through electrified cars, fully electric battery cars. So that's our focus. We want to gain as much as we can. What I can say is that XC40, when it came 2 months of last year, we sold like from within our portfolio 17% were electric cars. This year it should be better than that, much better than that is all I can say.
Right. Now, in terms of the global chip shortage, how does it continue to impact your production? Would you say that for Volvo, the chip shortage, the semiconductor crisis is well behind?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think the semiconductor issue is still with us. We hope that it will get better this year. It has eased a little bit, but with the war in Ukraine rolling on, unfortunately, it's very hard to predict when we'll be back to normal supply and demand for semiconductors. We do our best, and frankly, we could have sold many more cars here in India had we had more production. So it continues to be a bit of a challenge for us.
Right. Now, in terms of your expansion plans, there have been talks about Volvo considering setting up a new plant in India. What stage are those talks currently? Are you scouting for a location? Are you looking at possibilities? Because different state governments have also asked Volvo to come and set up shop in India. So what is the status of those plans?
Well, I should say we already have a plant here in Bangalore. So we have CKD production of XC40 BEV, and I can confirm today that we will start production of our C40 BEV here later this year in that plant. In terms of more production capacity, we're looking at all options around the Asia-Pacific region. Nothing has been decided, and frankly, I don't know where we will end up with that, but we're certainly well aware of the incentives and the desire of the Indian government to have more production here.
But that will be specifically for EVs?
I think pretty much all of our new plants will be specifically for EVs, yes.
If I were to ask you, Jyoti, about investments going into India, new investments, could you give us a figure on what would you like to invest in India in 2023?
See, I won't put, again, it's not about investment per se, but how we are expanding our footprint over the last few years. We set up our spare parts warehouse very recently. We have last year started our CKD production of XC40, and as you just heard from Nick, confirming that C40 will also be produced here. And we have also set up a India Tech Hub in Bangalore, which is, I think, bringing Indian talent in IT and I think developing softwares and apps and other things as we are moving towards that sort of smart cars. And a lot of this will be happening in India. So we have a big thing coming up in Bangalore, already started. Right. So that's how we're going to expand here.
Right. If I were to ask you about your key global markets, how does India compare to them, and how much of your global sales will come from India?
That's very hard to say because our global sales picture is changing all the time. What I can say is that we see India as a very important developing market. We see the population growing, we see the wealth of the middle class is growing very rapidly indeed. So for us, this is a very important growth market. Where it will rank in the global hierarchy, it's very hard to say because there's so much turmoil in automotive markets all around the world. But we've got a lot of focus on India.
Well, with that, we're heading into a very short break, but coming up on the other side, an exclusive conversation with UAE's Foreign Trade Minister when we come back.
Friends,